Support for The Activity Continues is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for all your grooming needs. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million, with an M, million individuals worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code ACTIVITY at manscaped.com.
Hi friends, do us and yourselves a favor and check out our affiliate, 3 Spirit Drinks. They create plant-based, non-alcoholic elixirs that are cruelty-free and vegan, and they are designed to give you some of the benefits of alcohol without the hangover and other side effects. If you're looking to cut down on alcohol but still want the buzz, check them out. The link is us.3spiritdrinks.com and use the promo code TheActivityContinues for 15% off your entire order. Friends, we're so glad you're joining us again for the Activity Continues podcast. If you're new here, we are friends and soul sisters who recap episodes of the TV show The Dead Files. And we talk about other creepy shit as well as some mundane stuff about our lives. I'm Amy.
And I'm Megan. And again, thank you for joining us. This week, Amy is recapping the Dead Files episode called A Banshee's Cry. It's from season 2 and episode 2, and it aired August 17th of 2012. So Amy, do you want to let us know why you chose this one?
Yeah, I mentioned this last time. You had said that you were going to cover this one at one point. I can't remember what episode, a couple ago. And then you ended up covering something different. So I was like, well, we told everybody we were going to do A Banshee's Cry, so we better do it.
And it literally was, I think I just honestly forgot. Like, I don't think there was any good reason.
No, I know. I'm sure you just were like, oh, I don't know. Because when I said, oh, you're doing A Banshee's Cry, right? And you're like, no, I don't know what that is.
By yes, I mean no.
Yeah.
So, actually, fun fact, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Oh, we could talk about the Amy Allen Twitter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So I posted the Allenism, right? And my post said, if you're new here, Amy's dad passed away in 2019. And at the end of his life, he was saying a lot of weird things. Amy's stepmom, Jackie, wrote them all down, and we read one every week. Here's this week's. And I did not use any kind of hashtags about Dead Files or about Amy Allen or anything. Like nothing. I think I used like hashtag Allenism and funny quotes or something like that.
Yeah, I saw it was nothing to do like connect. It's not like you wrote hashtag Amy Allen or
no, nothing. Well, Amy Allen saw it and she thought that maybe I was talking about her. And so she commented on my tweet, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, you're not talking about me, are you? And I was like, oh my God. First of all, I'm like, Amy Allen's tweeting at me. Yeah. Secondly, Amy Allen's mad at me. So I was like, no. My name's Amy. I am the co-host of this podcast. It's about my dad who passed away in 2019.
Right.
And she didn't answer. And I'm like refreshing, waiting to make sure she saw it, you know? And she didn't respond. And then other people were like, Amy, did your dad die?
I know.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then I replied to that person and said, nope, this is me, Amy, co-host of the podcast.
Yeah.
Nope, not her. Like the next day I saw a couple. Oh, I kept seeing more people seeing her comment. There's like 400 and some people that saw her comment on our post. And so I was like, oh, shit. But she finally did see it, and she just posted like a series of emojis that was like, one of them was like a head thing, and one of them was a heart, and one of them was a giggle or something like that. So she's fine. We're fine. We're still best friends. It's all good.
Obviously. I mean, it's going to take more than that to destroy your friendship. But
I know. It's pretty solid. So, yeah. Oh, no.
What?
I think Lisa Marie died. Lisa Marie Presley. I just got a breaking news. Rock legend Elvis's only child. Yep.
Yep. I just see it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no. She had a cardiac arrest.
She had a
heart attack.
No, it's not the same. I Googled it.
I think I know that you're right, but I don't remember what the distinction is.
So a heart attack is when there's a clogged artery or clogged something or other that goes to the heart. Cardiac arrest is when the firing gets interrupted.
Oh, okay.
How's your mom? What's new with her?
She's fine. I got a call yesterday from a woman who said, I was your mom's best friend in high school, and I wanted to talk to her because my daughter told me that your mom's in a retirement home now, and I want to talk to her. And my daughter got your number, and so I'm calling you. And I was like,
that sounds sketch.
This was all in a voicemail, of course. I didn't answer the phone because it was
because you don't know a number.
It was actually a blocked number. It said private number. And I was like, I'm not answering that.
That sounds like a serial killer.
So, yeah. So then I called my mom and I'm like, do you know what? And she said, oh, she was my best friend in high school.
Story checks out.
I gave her the number and she called her and they had a nice talk.
Good.
And my mom said, oh, yeah, it was so great. She was the one that went with me to all the plays and all the movies and stuff because all of our other girlfriends just wanted to go make out with their boyfriends. And I told Greg that, and he goes, so this was your mom's lesbian friend, but they didn't know it.
Yeah. Yep. It's like in Golden Girls when Blanche is trying to figure out lesbian. And then she gets all offended because Dorothy's lesbian friend has a crush on Rose and not her. I got my Golden Girls trivia calendar,
Yeah.
They are hard. They are really hard.
You got to be super hardcore to know
like
those?
The one yesterday was, what was the name of the triplets that were on the St. Olaf Woman of the Year calendar? I didn't know that one.
Were they in an episode or was it just mentioned?
It was just mentioned.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. This calendar is showing me a lot about myself that I didn't know.
Wow.
Snakes in California have been seen swimming through the state's flooded streets, but that's nothing compared to South Australia. Well, obviously, everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
That's right. Australia is scary.
God bless I love Australia, but people who live there, you're the real MVPs because you got spiders, you got snakes, you got crocodiles, you got sharks, you got jellyfish.
Yeah.
Too many things trying to kill me.
Nope. Yeah, that's too much. Too much.
I think I read on the internet a long time ago that like 7 out of the 10 most venomous snakes live in Australia.
Oh, that sounds right.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
No. I can't do it.
I mean, I'm guessing they're not in like downtown Sydney, but still.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't.
They might be.
They might be coming up the toilet. Like those old frogs.
Oh my gosh. Did I send you Jordan the Stallion and he was talking about the frogs?
The frogs, yeah.
You have to put mesh over your toilet?
Yeah.
Your pipes?
Yeah.
Sir, I love how he just throws everything.
I know. I love his little.
I know. He's so cute. He's such a cutie.
He is. Wait a minute.
Where he opens his cupboard to throw stuff out. Did I send you the one where somebody handed him something to throw out?
Yeah. I've seen a couple like that. Someone's in the doorway handing him stuff. He just picks it up and throws it.
Out. He is so funny. I love him.
He is.
All right. Let's dive right into this, shall we?
Let's dive in.
Scotland's history is ghoulish, ghastly, and at times downright gruesome. Who wouldn't want to hear more about it?
If you're interested in learning more about Scotland's history, legends, and ghost stories, then the Generally Spooky podcast is for you.
My name is Ailey, researcher, storyteller, and believer in ghosts.
And my name is Kieran. I'm chief listener, provider of jokes, and Ailey's husband, and we are the co-hosts of the Generally Spooky podcast.
Join us as we discuss things like the Loch Ness Monster, the Mackenzie Poltergeist, the Battle of Culloden, and so much more.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. You can also find us for free on YouTube and over at our website, generallyspooky.com.
We'll see you there.
See you there.
Greetings, friends. Do you have a taste for the unknown? Are your days plagued with thoughts of the strange and morbid? Has your bloodlust for knowledge of the most sadistic killers that has ever walked the earth ever been satisfied? If not, then I'm here to help. Welcome to the Nightcap, where nothing is taboo and the topics are always fresh. Join me by the fire on the first of every month for tales of terror and stories of the sadistic. Learn why your neighbor might be hiding a horrible secret, or if that conspiracy theory you thought was false turned out to be real. Whatever your dark desire, I have what you need. You can find me on Spotify, Radio Public, and Anchor, with more ways to listen coming soon. Without further ado, be safe, stay curious, and now, back to your program.
Again, this is called The Banshee's Cry, and it is season 2, episode 2 on Discovery Plus. I have no idea what it is on anything else.
We've just abandoned Hulu altogether.
Yeah, we don't deal with Hulu at all because it's a pain in the
dead to us.
Yeah,
no pun intended. Maybe Amy can go resurrect it. All right, okay, we're really diving in.
Here we go. So this takes place in Carmel, New York. New York. I don't remember any trigger warnings. I will have to voice over them in later because I didn't write any down. I did say that there's mention of a heart attack.
What episode doesn't talk
right?
about it?
Oh my God. But anyway, so the client is Anthony and we're at Smalley's Inn. It's a restaurant bar in Carmel, New York.
That sounds really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Smalley's Inn.
Yeah, it does. It's really cute.
It sounds, and I haven't seen the episode, but it makes me think of like a hometown like pub / inn, like very like wooden walls. And
that's exactly what it is.
Okay,
exactly.
And I haven't seen the episode, so that just made me think of it.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Anthony. I wonder if he goes by Tony.
There's a Tony too.
Okay. Maybe that's okay.
So this is New York, right? Upstate New York.
Right.
So Anthony is basically, he's like Steve, but just a titch different than Steve.
Okay.
He's a big guy. He talks like this. He's
so
from the Bronx.
Steve's brother.
Yeah.
Basically. Like they could be brothers.
Yeah.
Digging to the archives with my brother Tony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Ma, where's the meatballs?
Exactly. So this is an early enough episode. This is season 2, episode 2. So this is early enough where Steve is still explaining the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's, driving in the caddy
with the ring shot.
And he says how they don't talk to each other until the end and stuff. Then they show Matt going in and removing all this stuff. And it's one of, like you said, it's one of those like neighborhood, smallish town.
Been there for places. Like 60 years.
And there's like 400 framed photos on the walls.
And just like tchotchkes left and right.
Yes.
Poor
so Matt is like, there's a lot of stuff in here and I have to cover up as much as I can. So they show him taking down stuff. But just basically putting a black tarp on the walls.
On the entire walls.
Yeah. Because there's really not
like,
much else.
What the
She's like, Matt? Are we in a cave? What's going on?
Matt, what's happening?
So the client is experiencing apparitions, things getting pushed off of tables, and he has been shoved from behind Anthony.
And he's a big guy.
He's a big dude. So Amy, when she arrives, she says right away that she sees a female that she has seen before in her own home. The woman came to her at her home.
That's never happened.
I don't think so. I think they've come to her like the night before in the hotel or something.
Yeah, but
this
not
is
at
her house.
Mm-hmm.
She said,
do we know what state Amy lives in?
No, I don't know where she lived in at this point. I think right now she lives in LA, but for a while she lived in Colorado. I don't know where she lived, in this time.
Wow.
I think she's
crazy.
from Colorado. I may be wrong about that, but I think she's from Colorado.
Amy, if you're listening, please let us know.
Please let us know. You can go ahead and tweet me since we're best friends now.
Obviously.
But anyway, so she says that this woman and a couple of men came to her in her home. They were surrounding her bed and they were trying to kill her.
Oh, aggressive.
Yeah. And then she explains how the dead know that she's coming before she does. She's
mentioned that before. Yeah. I wonder how.
Well, it's all up on the plane. So
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to, I don't know. That's just.
I can't understand it. I just accept that it is. Yeah. I can't imagine. It's like math. It exists. Right. I don't know it.
I know it's there. I just don't really get it. Yeah. So
once we get past 10 and I have to use my.
I know. I take my socks off.
And then people die from my stench. It's just not good.
Okay. So. Sorry,
I'm really derailing us.
They sometimes she was explaining that sometimes these spirits come to her ahead of time and try to stop her from going.
Really?
So she was like,
Wow.
And she said this woman really, really hates her. And she said this woman causes death. So now we're in Steve and Anthony chit-chatting, and I wrote, Anthony sounds just like Steve. I can hear him say, dig into the archives.
Oh my God. Now I want to watch it just to see him.
You should.
I should.
It's a really good one. So he tells Steve that he grew up on the streets of the Bronx, and he had a gun pointed to his head, but this is scarier. This is scary. And Steve says, yeah.
I know exactly how Anthony feels. I've been in a few shootouts myself, but I think if I ever actually saw a ghost, it'd scare the hell out of me.
Wow.
Yeah. So Amy, we go back to Amy. She's still talking about this woman, and she says she cries and she's really nasty. And she said this woman is what people would call a banshee. And then Amy goes on to describe in voiceover what a banshee is. And she said it's from Irish folklore, and they are kind of an omen.
Yeah.
If you hear one, someone you love will die very soon. Mm-hmm. If you see one, you are going to die.
Neither are good options.
Which then made me really nervous for Amy and everybody else who saw this woman.
But at least we're on up season 15 now, so they all lived.
They all lived. Well, I don't know about the people at the bar, but I mean,
that's true.
I think they're fine. So Matt asks her if she's okay, and she says no. And then this is outside the bar. They haven't even walked in yet.
Oh, they haven't even gotten in?
No. So then they go in, and she says the banshee really, really hates people, and she says she thinks she's here. And Matt says, where? And then she looks around and she points to a door and swings the door open, and she goes, downstairs. And then they start walking downstairs.
I would walk the opposite way.
Amy, you're going the wrong way.
Amy, go. No, don't go downstairs.
So, and then it did a lot. This one was directed kind of differently. It cut a lot between Steve, Amy, Steve, Amy, Steve, Amy. And so I kind of bunched a bunch of the Steves together and a bunch of the Amy's together, because
that's what I do with all
it was getting a little too much. Anyway, Steve and Anthony are going downstairs into the basement, and Anthony says that he has cut his hours at the restaurant because he can't stand to be in the basement.
Really?
And and he's like, this is starting to, I have to provide for my family. I can't be, cutting my hours. I need to be able to work. So, and it is a creepy basement, but then again, they also film it that way, with the swinging camera and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So even after Steve switches on a light and he's got a flashlight, it's still really dark down there.
No thanks. Goodbye.
And they have lights for the filming
for the cameras. Yeah.
But it's still super dark down there.
Megan's out.
It's like Blair Witch basement. It's really creepy.
Oh my God. That was the scariest movie. Do you know, I thought until a couple years ago that was real.
I know. That's okay. You're not the only one. I only knew because at the time
here too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I only knew for sure because I was in a bunch of internet groups and I found out that some people that were in the film business knew, and I found out through that.
Yeah, I should have known you back then. That would have saved me years of nightmares.
Some problems. That movie still made me sick though, with all the jiggly camera and everything. I got
it made me sick, but nauseous. Because I was terrified, not because
it was
of the
a scary movie.
It was so scary.
It was very scary. I watched it again recently. It does not hold up. It's not scary.
Really?
I didn't think so.
Okay. Well, you
Anywho.
also are a lot braver than me. So.
Well, I mean, when it comes to a movie, I guess I am.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me. So Anthony tells about when he came downstairs once to get ice. The ice machine is down there. So they have to go down there. Everybody does, at some point.
You can't avoid it.
Yeah, you can't just go a whole shift without going down there. He saw an apparition of a very properly dressed woman. She whispered something to him. He didn't ever say what. He turned around and he was shoved.
Wonder if that's the Banshee.
Yeah. He knows, he goes, I'm a pretty big guy. And he's taller than Steve and wider shoulders than Steve.
And Steve is like close to 6 feet.
Yeah.
I mean,
this
Steve
guy's
is
at least 6'2", 3".
Yeah.
He's a big guy. And Steve agrees. And then they start comparing body weights. That was funny.
And boom, I get tossed. I mean, guy, I'm a big guy.
Yeah, I mean, I go 210. You got to be at least 275, 280, right?
Easy.
So then he says the lady then, after he got shoved, just walked right by him. And he went to follow her and she disappeared. Steve asks her.
Why would you follow her?
Well, he was trying to chase her out, I think. I don't know. So Steve asked him to describe the woman, and he said she looks like she's from the 1800s, poofy dress and a nice hat, blonde hair. He could see right through her. So she was transparent.
Yeah.
Anthony also said he's seen a male apparition. His hat was half on, half off, hanging off the side of his face. He had curly white hair, a jacket, ruffles on his shirt. And Anthony thought he was just a customer. And when he said he was going to go pop him. I was about to go pop him. And he said, I'm ready to smash this guy. But then he just disappeared.
Oh, I wonder when he said his hat was half on, half off, was it supposed to be that way? Or was it more like.
He said he put his hand on his side of his head like that. So I don't know. I think.
Because how some hats, if you angle them, they're supposed to be that way.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. I don't know what the style was back then. So I don't really know. But Steve tells him that if he saw this stuff, he would probably never come back down here. And Anthony says, I don't. And that's why I am cutting my hours. I need my pay. I need to put, So, and then I was like, so clearly Anthony doesn't own this place. If he's being like, I have to cut my hours and I'm not making the money I'm supposed to and stuff. Because I thought he was the owner at first. So, and I noted that you could really tell that Steve, I think, believed this guy 100%. Sometimes you can tell Steve's like, this guy's bullshitting me.
Yeah. If you're bullshitting me, I'm going to be really pissed.
Yeah, I'm going to be really pissed. So I could tell he was, and maybe it was because they were the same kind of guy, the New York guy.
Yeah, New York
Italian.
guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, so now we go back to Amy. She's in the basement. She gets a feeling of being bashed in the head. And she's sensing that someone here has had a lot of pain and head impact. Amy says she was up in everybody's business and is really pissed off.
Ooh.
And this woman is seeking revenge. And she sees an opening and she takes advantage of it.
I wonder, isn't that the way banshees come around?
Well,
or are they like a whole other entity? Or are they like
we'll get to that, but she's in a word, no, not really.
Okay.
But okay. So Amy sees a man in uniform downstairs, and when Matt asks her to describe him, it sounds just like the guy Anthony saw. Poofy shirt, the arms come out. She was gesturing like ruffles, and he's got a rifle with, and she goes like this with her finger, just wiggles her finger, like she's like my taking a picture gesture.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, she says, and Matt goes, a knife? And she said, yes, it could kill you. And then she goes, but I don't feel good about it. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't think that you would. They might have edited and cut that funny, but it made it sound like she was saying, he's got a gun and a knife, but I don't feel good about it.
I mean, who would feel good about if you see somebody with a gun, you're usually not like, oh, I feel really warm and fluffy.
Yeah, this is nice.
That's cuddle.
Yeah. So she says he made her feel really uncomfortable. And when he walked down the stairs, the basement is his area.
Oh, so okay.
And he likes to follow people and sneak up on them.
I don't like that.
And he gives off panic and confusion. And he makes her feel scared. And she said he's not confused, but he puts that out there.
Okay.
He puts out confusion. And she says she doesn't know what his problem is, why he's still here, or how he even got here. And now we're in the bar area. Steve is now he's meeting with Tony, who is the owner. Not to be confused with Anthony.
Oh, Anthony's not the owner?
Anthony's not the owner. Tony is the owner, and Anthony's a different guy. They all look the same. They're 3 Steves. It's really funny. They all are dark hair, same build,
Italian.
Yep. And so he has seen an apparition at the bar, a man in a suit and tie. And he tells how there used to be video games in the bar that you would play. I'm guessing like those big console ones.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like fun.
I know. And he said that when you were playing, you would see somebody behind you, like in the reflection of the glass. Reflection. Yeah. But then you turn around, there's no one there.
No.
So he said he gets goosebumps just telling these stories. And he said people get tugged on their sleeves. Tony says one of the employees came down to get ice and saw a soldier standing there looking at her. He was wearing a blue uniform with a blue stripe down the pants. And she quit.
At least he sounded like Union. So right side.
Yeah. But,
well, they are in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. So after that night, she quit. She quit that night.
Bless her.
Yeah. And then another one got tormented. Things were thrown at her. An ice scoop was thrown at her. And Steve asks, is she here? Can I talk to her? And Tony says, she's no longer with us. And Steve goes, she died? And he says, yes, she died prematurely by accident. They don't ever talk about it again. I have no idea what happened to this woman, but she died.
I don't think we've ever had that in an episode.
I don't think so either.
I wonder if she died because of the Banshee.
Well, so Tony tells him that's a guy named Smalley bought the place in 1852. Tony's family has had it since 1965.
Oh, yep, very family bar.
Yeah.
Or family business.
Yeah, yeah. So now we're at Amy. She says male came up behind her and tried to grab her back. He was a soldier or a captain, and he's hiding now. He does not want her wandering around, and he's hiding, and she keeps looking like she's looking for him. Okay. But they move into the kitchen area. They're still talking about the basement, but they're up on the main floor now. And he asks her if the soldier would make himself known to people, and Amy says that people would feel him before they would see him. He doesn't like to be seen, which is why he's hiding right now. His favorite place is the basement, and he doesn't want anyone down there. He moves stuff around, and he likes to freak people out and make them feel claustrophobic. So Steve says he wants more info from people who aren't there every day and aren't influenced by workplace rumors.
Right. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Totally.
I never would have thought of that.
No, I know.
That's why I'm not a detective.
I'd be such a bad detective as much as I would love that job. I'd be like, terrible. You didn't do it? Okay.
I'll be like, oh my God, of course you were just holding these drugs for your friends. Honestly, that's what good friends do. We need more people like you.
We need more good friends.
Please be on your way. And then my other detective friends would be like,
Megan.
That's literally the bad guy.
Yeah. So he finds a contractor who worked on the basement at one point, but the guy was too scared to finish the job, left before it was over. His name's Jeff. We never get a last name.
Jeff.
They're in the basement. I can't believe that Jeff even went back into that basement. Yeah. Maybe he felt more comfortable with Steve and with cameras and all that.
And other people.
Yeah.
Maybe he was doing it alone.
Yeah.
The job.
He might have been, yeah. Yeah, he might have been. He did talk about it a little. I don't recall him talking about anyone else. But he said when he was on the job for a few weeks would go just fine. And then he got a negative feeling like sadness. And he didn't want to see people. He would get really tired. He got kind of like depressed and he would get really tired. He would leave the bar and 45 minutes later, he'd feel better.
He'd be fine.
So he says he's feeling it a little bit right now. Right there while he's talking to Steve.
Wow.
He said lights would fizzle and then burn out. And he and Steve both talk about how that's not really how bulbs burn out. They usually have a bang, a flash, and then they die. Yeah, they don't just fizzle and die.
Yeah.
And these did. And he said it was happening 2 to 3 times per night. So
that's a lot. That's a lot of times per night. Yeah. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. So he was explaining how he had a pile of lumber stacked on one side of the room, all neatly stacked. And they came back the next night and they were all neatly stacked on the other side of the room. exactly the same way they were before
up.
on the other side of the room.
Shut
And there's no way
up.
anybody in the bar would do that. You know, they don't even like being down there. There's no way somebody would go down there just to fuck with it.
Oh my God, my stomach just dropped at that.
I know.
That's,
Yeah.
I would not have gone back there.
Yeah.
If I came downstairs and saw, and the thing that's so creepy about it is they were neat.
Yes.
They were
It's not like they were picked up
neatly
and thrown
stacked.
like ghosts like to pick stuff up and throw
Yeah,
it.
or like a
Neatly
worker
stacked. And they
pranking
were
them.
and they were big, like big 2x4s, you know, they were big.
Oh my God, I
stacks of
literally
lumber.
just got chills. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I
No.
would quit too.
Oh God.
I would quit too.
I know.
Jeff, you and me, let's hit the road.
That's it. So Steve asked why he quit. And he says he was
Steven.
unable. He says he was unable to get anything done. And also
Yeah.
the depression. And he knew that it was connected to the place because
And also
felt
he
better
was
when he left.
scared.
Yeah.
And before you ask, Steven, it wasn't the dogs.
No, it was not the dogs. There's no dog. in this one
Steven.
at all.
Why'd you quit? I don't know, Steve. You know, I just felt like I wasn't going to get enough bang for my buck.
Yeah.
That's
so-
terrifying. I hate it when they neatly, like, they do
I
things
know.
like that.
I know. It's
It's
really
one
creepy.
thing. It's still terrifying when they like throw stuff
Yeah.
off. Like, remember the video, the one that we watched where the bottles came off of the bar?
Yeah.
That's one thing. But
Yeah.
to neatly, or like when they neatly like put all the tables on top of the
Yes, or
chairs on top of
they
the
put the
tables.
chairs on top of each other or the table on top of another table upside down. Ugh.
I hate it.
That's
I
creepy.
wonder if that's real. Have there been like cases of that? Like real cases?
Well, didn't that happen to Lance and Jennifer that we interviewed before?
You're right, it did.
They had something like that happen in their kitchen. I think
Yeah,
some
you're right.
chairs stacked on each other or something like that.
You're right. You're
I
right. You're
think
right. You're
so.
right.
So, I mean, it wasn't on camera, but I believe them. So,
Oh, yeah.
So Steve wants to know more about James Smalley, the guy that bought this place at the beginning, who opened the bar. So he goes to talk to historian Linda Zimmerman at the library. He confirms that Smalley bought the place in 1852, and it was an inn, a tavern, and a restaurant.
That's a lot.
She says that he was a super nice guy. He was really outgoing, would do anything for anyone. Everybody in the town loved him. He was super active in the community.
Did he light up a room?
Yeah. No. Oh God, we were watching something on TV and they were talking about somebody who was they were in the hospital and they were very sick. And they were talking to people that knew him. They said, "Oh, he just lights up a room." And I'm like, "Shit, he's a goner.
He's dead. He's gone."
Peace out." Anyway, so he said, so he was super active in the community, and this was 52. So town wasn't super big. I don't think it's even super big now. But so at one point, at different points, or several points throughout his life, he was the town supervisor, the sheriff, the treasurer, and the assemblyman. And he also recruited soldiers during the Civil War.
What's the town supervisor do?
I don't really know.
Just sits. I'm just picturing somebody sitting in like a lifeguard chair. Just
You
like
get over there.
overseeing the town.
You're out of
You.
line.
You're out of line. You put that stop sign over there. You carry those books. People are like, he's the supervisor.
You better listen to him. He's a
He's in a chair.
And then he was the sheriff after that.
I know.
So he died in 1867 of what they called sudden morning heart attack, which I guess he just woke up one morning, had a heart attack, and he was dead.
I wonder if it's different than like an evening heart attack.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you just wake up from a nap, maybe. But so he died in the building. Because it was an inn, I think there's an apartment in the building, at least for the people who owned it. And he was about 54 years old, which is pretty young for a heart attack, but back then things were different.
1867? I mean, what was the average lifespan then? It can't be 90.
No. He was probably elderly at 54.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's young.
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah.
For a heart attack?
I know. A heart attack. So Amy's walking around the bar area. She gets a guy that worked there, probably owned it, very much in charge. He's here all the time, but he's more of a residual. He's a good vibe. He's happy.
Mm-hmm.
He died here. And Matt says, how did he die?
How did he die?
I think he had a heart attack.
She's just so good.
I know.
How did she do it?
I know.
I think he had a heart attack.
Heart attack. So Smalley had a wife named Harriet. They had 9 children.
9?
9 children. And they all lived in this place, I think.
That is so many children.
Yeah. 2 of them did die when they were babies. I don't know how.
God.
They didn't talk about it. His wife died in 1850, and he married her sister, Emily.
Ooh, which I guess is
that was what they
common,
did back
but
then.
yeah.
And they had another 6 children.
15 total children?
Yeah. 2 of those kids died of diphtheria. And then Steve asks, what's diphtheria?
Yeah.
And this woman says, it's contracted through contaminated food, and it attacks the respiratory system. And so it presents like pneumonia.
Okay.
But it's a really painful and slow death.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So now Amy's back in the basement, and she says she feels like people lived down here, like maybe 10 people. And she says they're all sleeping down here, and she thinks they're all one family, and some of them are very sick, like with a flu type thing.
Oh, so diphtheria.
Which is diphtheria, I'm sure.
Yep.
And she says, I think a couple of kids died from it.
God, she's good.
I know. She gets people yelling like from a long time ago, and she can see blood on the floor. And she says that's an indicator of how many people died there.
Okay.
So that's a new confusing thing. So then Steve's going to the cemetery and ring shot. This is where we see the ring shot to meet with Richie Othamer, who's a Civil War buff and knows more about Smalley.
Sure.
He concurs that he was very active in the war, getting people to enlist. He never served himself. He was too old, but he had a mortuary under the inn.
Okay. So now we've got an inn, a tavern, a restaurant, and a mortuary.
Yeah. And then you can also add coroner to his list of community jobs he held.
I wonder if that was before or after the supervisor.
It was probably after. So he, when people were injured in the war, they would get taken down there, and they would be either they would die down there waiting for help, or they would be dead when they got there, and they would just wait for their families to come pick them up. So there were a lot of dead people in that inn.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then we go back to Amy, and she says somebody is talking about something medical. She sees a table, like a long table.
Oh my God. They're bringing in these men. People are freaking out, and they've been injured, and like someone's digging a bullet out of somebody. It's gross and dirty and disgusting.
Whoa.
Yeah. She was so spot on in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now Steve's at the library digging through the archives.
Digging through the archives of Tony.
And he finds
cannoli.
He finds a man named George Denny, who was executed at the courthouse that was right in front of the inn. He talks to an author who's writing a book about this case. The author's name is Vin Tacchino.
Okay.
And Vin has quite a toop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't be real hair. It's like Marv Albert bad.
Who's Marv Albert?
Oh, he's a sports commentary from a while ago. Maybe it's before your time. He would do the goofy stuff when the sports people would like trip and fall, and they have like a whole blooper reel that he would narrate it.
Okay.
Anyway, it's bad. It was a bad toupee. So Vin tells us about this story. In October of 1843, a man named Abraham Wanzer, who was 80 years old, was in his cabin in the middle of the woods.
80, you said?
80, yep.
Okay.
80. And he's in his cabin in the middle of the woods. Someone calls him out. He walks outside and is shot point blank in the chest with a gun. And
at 80?
Yeah. And Vin he's a hoot. He acts this whole thing out. Like he comes out with the gun like he's going to shoot Steve. It was pretty funny. So they arrest 17-year-old George Denny, who is a homeless kid. Probably didn't even do it. No. They were just like, let's get this shit off the street.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they had a trial. There was a hung jury, so they let him go. Then there was a second trial. They found him guilty. On the day of his execution, 4,000 people came to watch him die. Which seems like an awful lot in a small town.
Why would you want to watch somebody die? Like, I don't understand that.
That was some weird, morbid shit going on back then. But So this guy, this Vin, is just in his glory acting this whole thing out. So
he's probably been waiting his whole life for this.
I know. He's like, it's my chance. It's my chance at stardom.
Big break.
So he says they took the rope, they put it around the guy's neck, and then they paraded him through all the people. Walked him through the whole town square.
Poor kid.
I know. And then brought him right back up to where he was about to be hung. And he was hung. He gets no grave, no monument. They don't even know where he was buried.
I mean, I hope he died right away at least.
Oh, I hope so. God, you hear about those botched hangings where they just sit there
strangle?
for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, so awful.
Yeah.
So this is the sketches now. This time the artist says, Amy, what would you like to draw? Which I have never heard an artist say that to her before.
Asked her.
And I'm like, this woman's going to be good. She's going to be better than the last time.
Well, it's hard to be worse, honestly. Let's be real.
I know.
The caricature.
So the woman says she looks like a banshee. Or Amy says she looks like a banshee. And then Amy describes her. And I love the way they did this one because the woman was like asking her, like, what kind of hair did she have? What did her eyes look like? What was her expression like on her face? And I'm like, this is going to be so good. I can't wait to see this. I did not upload it yet. I'm going to send it to you.
I was just looking at that.
I forgot to upload it. So, but I can't believe she didn't draw the soldier. I really wanted her to draw that soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, here we are at the reveal. At the table is Anthony and Tony. Amy starts telling him about how the 3 dead people showed up at her home long before she got here. And the one woman is here. She hates all living people. She cries and moans, and she can see through her. Mm-hmm. And then Amy does a voiceover, which I thought was really interesting. She said, most people think that when you see ghosts, that you see them as transparent, but that's actually very rare for Amy. Anyway, they see, when they come to her, they appear as solid as living people. Mm-hmm. They just look like living people.
I wonder how she tells them apart then.
Well,
I would wonder, like clothing, I would think.
Yeah, clothing and like sometimes their brains are not like totally with it. You know, like she can't get their names sometimes. Mm-hmm. She can't get, like, she just gets like visions and like pictures. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a voiceover. Okay. So as the men are soaking all of this in about this woman, Amy appears a little on edge. She kind of flaps her hands a little, takes a deep breath, and she goes, have you ever heard of a banshee? And then she describes what a banshee is. And she calls it like a grim reaper. Okay. It's not causing a problem, not causing someone to die, but it's like a foreboding.
A message. Yeah. Like this person, or you're going to die, or somebody you know is going to die.
Right, right. And she said, but this one is potentially causing people to die.
Like the girl.
Yeah. So she said she's affecting other locations nearby too in the town. It's not all just this restaurant bar.
That's a powerful.
It could be the whole town.
That's powerful to be able to do that.
I know. So Anthony says, so you're telling me that I could take this thing to my house with my kid and my wife. And she said, yes, you can. And this is when she brings up the sketch. And like I said, I was expecting so much because of the way that.
And it wasn't good?
Well, you tell me.
All right. Okay. What?
I know.
This is exactly the way that other one was.
It's like a pencil drawing of like, and I understand like it's hard to draw because the woman was transparent. Her eyes were white. Her hair was white. But, you know, a good artist can draw like shades around to show you that something is white when you're drawing on white paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very simplistic drawing. Just
a face.
A face with strands of hair. And eyes with no pupils.
Yeah. I mean, I literally could have drawn that.
Yeah.
And I'm a shit artist.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to say, you're a shit artist. But yeah, any of us could have drawn that.
It's okay.
Your son probably could have drawn this.
He probably could have. Yeah. And he can't even really draw much. So,
so that's really saying something.
We're working on it. It's a process.
So they all look at the photo and no one says anything at first.
Probably because they're like, this is what we're looking at. Did my kid draw this?
Steve shows the photo of Smalley's second wife, Emily. And Anthony says, I seen this lady. He says that's the lady he saw downstairs.
With the frilly dress or whatever.
Right. So Amy says, well, this is the woman that I saw too. She said that she's relieved when she saw the photo because this means that the woman that she saw is not a banshee.
Okay.
Because living people cannot become banshees.
Oh, okay.
So she's
a separate thing.
Well, no, she's that there isn't a banshee. Not really. This woman is projecting herself as a banshee to scare people because she wants them all to leave. She hates living people. Oh,
okay. Well, that's tricky.
Yeah. So then Amy goes and talks about the long tables and the pools of blood. And then Steve talks about how the guy was a coroner and that this was a mortuary for a time. Mm-hmm. Amy talks about the soldier and Anthony's all wide-eyed.
Because he saw the soldier.
Yeah. And she said that he pushed her and he's really good at that kind of stuff. And Tony talks about the soldier that messed with the waitress.
Who quit.
The one that, and then also the one who passed away. So Amy tells about the contractor, Steve talks about the contractor who won't work here again.
Which still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And Amy says, he can move stuff around. So he's probably the one that moved that lumber pile.
And when I think about that, do you think it when they do stuff like that, do you think the stuff literally moves through the air? Or or does it move maybe through dimensions and then it just goes poof and poof? I always wonder this.
Good question. I would love to see
and when
video.
They stack the table, the chairs on tables.
Yeah.
Are they literally hovering in the air?
I don't know.
Maybe
that's a great question.
Know.
Somebody who's seen this can let us know, please.
Yeah, please let us know. We're dying to know. Well, poor choice of words.
Yeah. So she says when she sees Smalley's photo, she said that ghost really reminded her of Smalley. So she really believes that the ghost is Smalley, but Smalley was a nice guy.
Yeah.
So she says, I can't really explain it, but he wasn't a soldier, but he wanted to be a soldier, but he was too old. Mm-hmm. So he helped, get
recruits.
Soldiers in. Right. So she said, Amy thinks that she is seeing him both as his happy self in residual form, and then also projects himself as an angry soldier to protect the property.
Mm-hmm. And maybe because he's resentful, he couldn't fight when he wanted to.
Maybe.
Because he was too old. And so now in death, he can make himself into what he wanted.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve asked about the kid that was hung. And she said she didn't pick anything up about that.
Okay.
She said,
good at
nothing at that at all. She tells the whole story. She's like, no, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
And then
at least that means he's maybe at peace.
Yeah, I hope so. And then she explains that no one medium catches everything 100% of the time.
Right. How could they?
Yeah. So I think she felt I felt like she was defending herself, but I felt bad for her for feeling like she had to do that.
Yeah. Nobody would expect. I mean, how could you?
No.
It's like if you go into a crowded room, you're not going to notice everything.
Right.
Because there's just too much going on.
Right.
I'm sure it's the same with mediums.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Amy says they're safe to stay there. She says you have to deal with Emily first.
The wife.
Yeah. While she may not be a banshee, she is bothering people, and it's not going to be easy. You need to get a priest and a medium who will make contact. They will find her issues, let her vent, and then ask her to leave. And then they have to get rid of the soldier. So the priest will do a blessing, and the soldier will go. And they say they will absolutely follow all of Amy's advice.
Do they?
And it says at the end, since the investigation. Now, this is weird. You know how the end thing has the words and says what it is?
Yeah.
It says, since the investigation, Tony has consulted with a priest and a medium. The paranormal occurrences at the restaurant continue. It didn't say the activity continues. So I guess we have to change the name of the podcast.
Oh, there we go. They've weird phrasing.
I know. I thought that
maybe they were trying something out. They were workshopping it.
Yeah. But season 2?
Yeah.
They did that in season 1. Whatever.
I don't know.
We all try new things out. So I did a little bit of research. This restaurant actually closed January 15th, 2020 after 55 years in business.
Shoot.
Financial reasons, I'm assuming because of pandemic.
Well, that was before pandemic in 2020.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So they never would have
is-
lasted through the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, yep. So that's what I got for that.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. Megan, do you want to tell us what you're going to be covering next time?
Yes. So I will be covering season six, episode 5, titled The Darkening.
Cool.
So it sounds very happy and uplifting and just the best.
It looks like it takes place in Wausau, Wisconsin. So it's kind of our neck of the woods
I picked
almost.
that because I went to college in Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Oh.
And Wausau was about 30 minutes away from us. And so I've been to Wausau multiple times.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I've never been. I had a friend in college who was from there. Went to high school there. But
yeah.
Okay, so we need to do an Alanism.
Yep.
I will say, if you're new here, sorry, you guys, I got a cold. If you're new here, my father, Alan, passed away in 2019. He had dementia, Alzheimer's, something like that. And so he said a lot of goofy shit. And when he did, my stepmom, his wife, wrote them all down and gave me this 86-page document of all of his, well, no, it's a 5-page document, but I think there's 80 some sayings on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so each week, Megan throws me a number and we read one.
Or sometimes you pick a number based on
I pick
how
one.
you feel that day.
Yeah, sometimes I read a bunch of them and I'm like, yeah, that one sounds good.
Mm-hmm. So do you want me to throw a number?
Yeah, throw a number.
Let's do 33.
33. Okay. I recently looked this one up because I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. All right. He says, sometimes I find it easier to talk like an armchair Brit than a Freddie Ensford Hill.
Who's Freddie Ensford?
He's a character from My Fair Lady.
He's not the professor, is he?
No, he's not the professor. That's Henry Higgins.
Yeah, that's Henry Higgins.
But I don't know who he is, but he's
Henry Higgins, just you wait.
He's a character from My Fair Lady. So I find it easier to talk like an armchair Brit than a Freddie Ensford Hill.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Freddie was the one who loved Eliza.
Maybe.
And he sang on the street where you live. Yeah.
That could be.
I'm going to say that's Freddie. That's
okay.
what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Final answer.
No
fact checking being done here.
No.
Not
I'll do
live
a voiceover
anyway.
later if I have to.
Yeah. Not live. But
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of the Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.